That's what I host. And we are live. I did post lame excuses. Oh, there. It's Catie Harris, CEO. Who am I? CEO of Nursepreneurs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jill Weberding, and I'm CEO and founder of Nurse Assure. And today we're talking about
lame excuses. And here's my lame excuse right now. I can't find a good place that doesn't tell you what a mess my house is. It's my lame excuse for a moment.
There. But I think more importantly, what you're showing, Catie, is things don't always go perfectly, and you just need to keep persisting, and the show must go on anyway, right?
That's exactly what I was trying to do.
Great lesson.
Thank you.
What are we talking about? Lame excuses. Tell me some of the lame excuses that you hear, or give me the context, maybe.
The context of my lame excuses.
We work with a lot of nurses, right? So, I think part of it is, the excuses that we've been telling ourselves of why we haven't met the goals that we want, right? Say we want. If we say we have this great idea, we want to start a business, but I've been thinking about this. I mean, guilty. I thought about this, my business, for probably at least 2 years before I even pursued taking the first step of really trying to figure out how to create the business and seek a mentor. And so what's the deal? Why do we do that?
That's a good question. And, I had some pretty lame excuses too, stuff like, oh, I used to say nurses don't do that. And I don't even know where that came from. How can I speak for 4 million nurses, what they do or they don't do? Right? They don't do that. But, I was saying I don't do that because basically I'm scared, and I'm still picking up wind, aren't I?
You're picking up a lot of wind. Yeah.
It's a great wind. I'm really loving it, but
your mic is not. And probably our viewers may not be either.
Yeah, nobody else is going to like it, just me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But
that's better, right? There's no wind here. Now I'm hot.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I would love, everybody would Anani even said, man, that view of that beach, much as we love to see it, we do want to hear what you have to say as well.
Exactly. So am I looking away from you? Because I don't think my camera's on the right camera.
I am.
Whoops, that's not even me.
Why?
Why is this happening?
Don't always go as planned. Sometimes they don't go perfectly. And we figure it out, right? Everything is figure-outable. We're back to Marie, right? Everything is figure-out.
Yes. You just have to want to figure it out. That's, I think, what it comes down to.
It comes back to, what do you want?
Right, because that's where the kind of the lame excuses come into play, right? So, I've had, recently, especially over the last 6 months, I, took on all these extra things that, I wanted to do. I want to do this and this and this and this, and kind of chasing after shiny objects because it sounds good and I want to do it and I know I can do it. But the problem is I just can't do everything at once, right? So, one of my lame excuses has been, I'm busy. And that's why X, Y, and Z didn't get done. But you know what, that just starts to piss people off after a while. It's not a great excuse, and it's not something that you need to, you need help. You got to go get help if you're that busy,
Yeah. And you can, that. Here's the thing, you can do all the things, you just can't do all of them at one time.
Yes. This is a shocking lesson.
There needs to be some sequencing. And if you truly want to do all the things at one time, you're exactly right. You have to assemble a team that can help you pull them off, and everyone know what the game plan is in order to get things done, right? Because you still need to meet your commitments, right? That's the big thing.
Right. And then kind of another lame excuse after that is okay, now I have a team, but none of them know what to do, so I have to do it myself, which is also lame in a different way.
Yes, because why is it that they don't know what to do?
Yeah, it all comes back to me, right? Like, because I didn't show them how to do it. I didn't take the time. I didn't write out the SOPs, and that's those kind of that kind of stuff. Like, especially early on, you're like, oh, I'm just going to do it myself, and you need to do it yourself, and you have to figure it out, and all that kind of good stuff. But if you ever want somebody to help you, if you ever want to not do that stuff,
Hmm.
you need to write down a process, and I mean like a simple process, as simple as you can get. Like, literally, turn on your computer and go to a Word document and do this, right? Like,
Yeah.
just every single step. And that was kind of the magic of McDonald's too. When Ray Kroc decided
Yes.
to launch McDonald's, they came up with an operational manual that, like, literally a monkey could run a McDonald's. Like, that's how specific it is.
Right. And it has to be. And that's otherwise what you're going to have is a lot of frustration is now you're going to be paying people to be on this team that, they're supposedly taking stuff off your plate when actually it just makes you have to answer to 10 different people or 3 or whoever it is. And so it does feel like extra work, and it is, because if it were just you could just do it because you know what in your mind you want to have done, but they're coming to you asking for guidance, asking for permission maybe, or asking for the process because either you didn't give them enough guidance or you haven't given them the authority to actually do checklist manifesto. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that book. Yeah, it was really good.
checklist manifesto. I love that book, and that's exactly what you have to create. You have to create the process so that anybody can pick that up from where you are and know what to do. Right? Otherwise, getting a team gains you nothing. It
Yeah,
gains you
forget it.
nothing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So another one I think that I hear is the whole I don't have time, right? And so we see this repeatedly over and over and over and over again with nurses of either when they're trying to start their business, or it might be that they have an opportunity, and so like the answer is, I don't have enough time, I to do it. Like I would love to, man, feels like that would be perfectly aligned with what I'm trying to do my business, but they end up not really recognizing the value of that opportunity and just simply pull out this excuse of I don't have enough time.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I've recently had somebody email me something similar to that. I really want to do this, but I just don't have the time. And so I think there's two sides to that, right? Like sometimes people really don't have time, and it's not the right time. Like, yeah, you don't want to get involved in something if you're not committed to seeing it through. And I think sometimes we start a business thinking, oh, I can just dabble in it, and at some point something will happen, and it'll be magical and amazing and all this kind of stuff. And it doesn't quite work out that way, because what ends up happening is you end up dabbling in your business and you start spending all this money, and then it becomes a really expensive hobby that goes nowhere.
Right. And what I would say is to that is, well, how much time do you think it would take?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, oh my gosh, at this point, I am working on my business like 10 hours a day, every day, and weekends included, practically, which is another inner game issue. But the
We
when
need
I
a separate appointment.
we need I know, and I need help. So, but realistically, when you're first starting out, like, I mean, you're building up your brand, the brand called you, basically, what you want to project to the world. And I mean, you can do that in as little as 1 or 2 hours a day, just kind of like maybe posting, interacting with people, because that's what you want to do in the beginning. Like, you need connections, you need a network, and if you don't already have that in place, you have to create it. So that needs to be your focus, and you don't need a lot of time. You also don't need to be on a lot of platforms. I would just go where your audience is and just start connecting with the influencers who are already on that page, potential customers, synergistic businesses that, maybe you're like, man, I wonder if we could do something someday.
Mm-hmm.
Just like their stuff, comment, set aside that hour a day to not so much post on your own stuff. Like, yeah, you got to have some of your own post, but you could probably sit down for an hour and bang out like 5 posts that you schedule for the month, and that would be fine. But you should spend the rest of your time trying to connect with people and find out what they're doing. And it's like the same thing in business. Like, where's the problem? Where's the problem? Who has a problem that you can help solve that, you could solve collectively in your business? And that's what you're doing. That's the point of social media, is to be social.
Right. But like, you know, when I think of people who are telling me that either nurses that I've been working with in like my courses or, you know, one-on-one, or that I'm still working with after they complete a course, it's like, they'll tell me about an opportunity maybe that is presented to them. And they're like on the fence of, should I do it or not? Like, I don't know if I should do it. And I'm like, well, what's holding you back? And almost always, well, not all, a lot of the time, that one of the number one objections that they give is like, I don't feel like I have the time. And I'm like, well, okay, well, let's think about what this opportunity is. Like, how is it getting you? Is it, one, aligned with your business, what you want to do? And if it is, then you go to the next step of the like assessment, right? So then it's and what will this do? Like, is this getting me in front of my audience that I have been like, you know, clawing my way to try to find a way in to get in front of them? Because if this opportunity is doing that, then, like, what is it actually costing you to not participate? How much time would it take you to, if you said no to the opportunity, how much time would it take you to get in front of that many people in their audience if you were trying to do it alone or on an individual basis?
Right.
Exactly. Like, so when you're talking about with either the shiny object of, you know, Catie, you said I all got presented all these opportunities, I really wanted to do them all. You know, one, you do have to know your capacity and what would it take for me to pull this off, and realistically, what's the benefit? How is it aligned with my business? And if I say no to it, what is the opportunity cost? Essentially, there's always an opportunity cost, right? It's not just an investment. It's an opportunity, like you're investing your time and energy, your resources, but what's the cost if you don't do it? So what would it take? Could you even buy your way in to getting in front of this many people of whatever that opportunity is? Or, you know, what would it take for you? How long, in days, months, maybe years, if ever, could you get individually in front of all of those people in that opportunity? So like, when you're thinking about, if somebody's presenting an opportunity and you're new, you're kind of starting out your business, maybe you're still working full time. We have a lot of nurses who are like still completing their advanced degrees and they're working and they're trying to start their business, and they're like, overloaded city, right? But the time's going to pass anyway. So is this, you know, where are you going to be? Are you creating an excuse because in the moment you feel like there's no way I can, you know, do this. I can't prioritize this. But what is that going to cost you? Like, after the fact, are you going to say, man, I should have done that, because
Right.
that would have got me right in front of the people who I want to talk to. And in fact, I could have connected with a whole bunch of new people who don't know I exist. And they might have even been my beta group. They could have been the people who I like test out some of my programs that I'm wanting to do, and got feedback and learned and been able to tweak, you know, what I'm doing and create a better service.
Right. Yeah. So, like I said, there's two sides to that because, yeah, I mean, one of the things that, you know, I would add in terms of opportunity cost as well is that if you're trying to do too many things at once, something will give, and maybe you'll still pass your course, maybe you'll still launch the program, maybe this will happen, maybe you'll get some money, but maybe you lost or your spouse, you end up getting divorced because they feel neglected, or you know, you get angry emails like I was getting, like, you know, you're not doing this, because I literally couldn't get to it. So now I'm like pissing off people that I'm trying to work with, and it's bad. It's really, really bad. So that's where I had to like step back and say, okay, you know, I can, yeah, I can get a handle. I don't have the processes in place to really get somebody to help me, because all they're going to do is they're not able to help me when I'm in a crunch, and that's not when you want to hire people, when you're in a crunch and only you know how to do what it is that you want to do. But at the same time, Jill, like what you're saying, you know, there's also that side of not just an excuse, but you know, you're never going to be ready. You're never going to have enough time to
When
start
are
it.
you going to have?
Yeah. And I always think that,
are
like,
you going to have the magical free time?
yeah, you're never going to have magical free time. It's never going to happen. And when you do have magical free time, all I want to do is like watch Netflix. You know, like that's what I
want to go
want
to
to
the
do.
beach that you're like showed us in the beginning. That's what I want to do with my magical free time. When is that going to happen? Right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think that's like the biggest, if you've used that And I do put that in the lame excuse category, because I believe, and why I can say that is because I'm coming from a place of knowing, because I used to use that excuse of, I don't have time to do that. I'd love to, but I just really, don't have the time. And what I found out is that I was really losing out, because I was just jumping to in the moment of, I didn't feel like I could possibly, pull off one more thing, or it wasn't, I couldn't get past the moment that I'm in to really think about, if I turn this down, what is the opportunity cost of that, right? And so again, I go back to, well, how much time would it actually take me to do what it is that they're asking me to do? If they want me to speak, for an hour, do a program, or, come do a patient support education, talk or Zoom call or something for them, what would it actually take time-wise for me to create that, prepare, and then of course the time commitment of actually, doing it, of the event, whatever that is. So like, when you think about it in those chunks, just like anything else, when you think about this overwhelming thing of creating a business, you're like, I don't have time to start a business right now. No, you're probably never going to have time to start a business, but could you do these steps of doing your research this month, or doing your research in the next 2 weeks, task, do, and then at the end of those 3 weeks, you're going to actually be further and, in the process and closer to actually starting your business. You just got to get started. Right. But thinking about the big thing makes you immediately jump to lame excuses of, I don't have enough time. I don't know how, I'm not good with money. I don't know anything about business. I don't know how to build a website. I don't understand the technology that would be required for that. Like, we jump into these lame excuses that kind of just slip out. And we don't actually think about, well, what would it actually take for me to do that piece?
Right. And, I think that's where it comes back to, is this what you really want to do? Because we can all find a million reasons not to do something. And I think that's, that's part of the lame excuse. Just be real with yourself. Is this what I really want? Do I really want to do this? Because if you don't really want to do this, just focus your efforts somewhere else. Do something else.
Just claim it. It's no big deal.
Right.
We say that, when we talk to students starting out all the time, what do you want? What is it that you actually want? If you just want more control of your schedule, you really may not want to start a business. You might just want to be able to work as a remote nurse. And you know what? I can connect you to a lot of people to go down that path. And that's totally okay. But so get clear on what it is that you want. It may not actually be that you don't want to create a business and be this long-term, in it for the long haul. So that's what's so important about really getting clear on what you want, because otherwise then it becomes, okay, what's important? Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's the question is, what are you prioritizing? What's important to you? If your business is important to you, you're going to make sure that it's in one of those 24 hours of the day, that you're working on something to keep moving you forward. If it's not, you're not going to do it. You're going to find all kinds of excuses of all the other fires, distractions, things that came up that you need to do, and you didn't move your business forward.
Right. And that's where, I would say too, when I would come up with these excuses of, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't have that, or I don't know how to do this. If I really believed that I could make an impact, or even let's throw the money out there and say, if I really believe that if I did these few things that I could run $1 million business.
Yes.
Does that make everything else kind of pale in comparison to what I don't or do have time to do, right?
Exactly. So again, what is it that you really want? And then are you committed to getting it? What are you willing to do in order to get what it is that you say you want? Saying that you want something is very different than being committed to getting something that you said that you want, right? Those are two different things. And so if the goal is, I want to create $1 million business, okay, well, let's chunk that down. In what time frame are you going to allow yourself to get there? Are you expecting to get to $1 million business in a year? Are you expecting to get to $1 million business in 2 years, in 6 months, in 3 months? Like you were in the community this week, Monday, doing fantasy math. I love that topic. You were in the
it's inside the closet.
nursepreneur network membership, like our community of let's talk about numbers for real, right? Like let's stop making these projections and saying I want to add $100,000 to my to my income this year. Okay, well, what is it actually going to take? Let's chunk that down. What's it actually going to take to do that? And then that's your time investment, friends. So if you say you want to do it in 3 months, by gosh, you better be pretty committed to investing that much and that time on a daily basis in order to get to your goal. Otherwise, you're never going to make it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, I mean, I love those points. I think that's really important. And, it's just like being down here in Mexico, right? Like, I've had people be like, oh, you must be really rich. But, no, like it actually cost me less to live in Mexico than it did back home. It's just, I just wanted it. Right.
Right.
So it was very
important to you.
easy for me to make, yeah, it was easy for me to make it happen and for less money than it was costing me to be in Philadelphia. So, you just have to want it. You just have to say,
Yeah.
this is what I want, and not be afraid of what it is that you want, or to say what it is. And, not everybody can pick up and leave as easily. It's, other people have spouses and a village around them and that kind of stuff. But it really does come down to, is it what you really want, or do you just like saying that you want it?
Yeah. How important is it to you? And I work with my nurses about like, what are their top values? Like because our behavior is driven by your values, right? And so what is it that's really important to you? And that is evidence based on what your life looks like, how you're prioritizing, right? So, that's going to shift things when you decide that the thing that is most important to me right now is that I'm in Mexico and it's for XYZ reasons. You will find a way to make it happen, right? Because that became the highest priority. This is an opportunity that I'm not going to get because my son's going to be, online learning anyway and whatever. Like this is an opportunity that's not going to come around. And so I don't want, what's the cost? If I don't do it now, when am I likely to ever get this opportunity again? Probably not. So you made it a priority and you made it happen, right?
Right.
So the business is the same way.
Yeah. And that's what, like early on, it wasn't a priority. And it took me 2 years to kind of get any traction whatsoever because, I would dabble in it and just be like, oh, I posted something 2 months ago and nothing happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a waste of time. I'm wasting my time.
Yes.
I don't have time. Yeah.
So many, right? And so we see that again. Like we talk to a lot of nurses who have been trying to launch, I've been trying to do this for a while. I did this. I don't understand why, like, build the website. Why is it that I'm not getting any clients? I need to learn how to get in front of clients. And I'm like, well, do you know what your clients want even? Right? Like, let's look at the, the foundation. How did you decide what it is that you're going to do? Like, it's just not what you're good at. Like, is there a problem actually here that you're solving, and who is it for, and what's your messaging? And so like, we go through this whole thing, right? And a lot of times what we see, mostly because a lot of nurses don't have business background, they just say, okay, I'm just going to take my stuff that I'm good at, and I'm going to put it out there. And then they're like, why am I getting crickets? Right? Why isn't it all like, hey, where's the standing line? Like, why are they lining up for my services or for my coaching or for whatever? And it's like, because they don't even know you exist and you're not speaking their language. They don't think that you have a solution to their problem. Right. So anybody who is creating and I know this because my husband is an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur. My father-in-law is an entrepreneur. So like, there's so much groundwork into starting a business. And if you don't do the groundwork, like it is literally a crapshoot, quite frankly, if it's going to be successful, because you haven't built the foundation. Like, to know that, starting a business is not easy. That's why a lot of people, what's the percentage, Catie? We say this all the time. What's the percentage that fail in the first whatever?
Like 95% of them. Yeah.
Because they don't do, a lot of them is because they don't do the groundwork.
Because they're dabbling. Yeah. They're just dabbling.
They're not committed. And so then they show up, and then they don't show up, and then they don't see the results fast enough. And then they get, a little irritated or frustrated, and they back off. And it's like, okay, well then.
Or they jump to things that they're not ready for, right? Yeah. Like the Facebook ads, okay, well, I can't get in front of, nobody responded to the one post I put out 3 months ago. So let me
Do a
do a
Facebook ad.
bunch of yeah, let me do Facebook ads, and then when those don't work, it's just kind of like
I'm
you know,
like,
you just keep jumping from one thing to another, and even like the funnels, like you know, Russell Brunson's always like, "You're just one funnel away," and it's like, no, like yeah, if I
I
had
will.
everything in place, then yes, I'm probably one funnel away from my million, billion, trillion
Yeah,
dollars. But if all this stuff, if that
in
foundation's
place.
not in place, then I mean, it's just, and I feel like people have gotten, you know, just kind of
Mm,
schmoozed over by that idea of,
one
you know,
funnel.
if I just put a funnel, like that doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah. What are you funneling to them? You
right,
know, like where are they going? Like, so you're exactly right. If you don't have the thing in place before, so now you can create the funnel and like all the messaging, what you're doing, services package, all the things. Now you create the funnel to bring them in. Now what are you delivering? Oh, I don't know. Well, wait a minute. What were you going to do? What was the plan if you were like doing Facebook ads or a funnel or whatever to get them into your group, build your email list, whatever it is that you think is going to be the magic lever to like open the floodgates? What are you doing once you get them? And
right.
then I've
But
seen
that's
this
what,
you're
you know,
like,
when you were talking
oh,
about earlier about, you know, helping people with their messaging and stuff. But, you know, the other thing that you can do is just ask them, like, well, you know, how many offers have you made to your audience? And they're all, you know, you usually get, well, none. Like,
or
you don't
maybe
offer
one.
anything. How are they supposed to know that they can buy stuff? God, people want to buy stuff. People love buying stuff. Like they're looking for solutions and they're looking to buy stuff. So, you know, that's as long as you are hitting the message, the reason that they're looking for something, the solution, they'll buy your stuff, but they need to know that it exists. And you can't just put it out once and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You know, you have to let them know, like in every
Trust.
email, this
Like
is what we
new
do.
post. No, that's not an effective strategy. And just like in the group, I talked about content strategy. Throwing spaghetti at the wall, just randomly posting stuff to be top of mind, that's not a strategy. That's not a business strategy. Throwing something together and calling it a service, not a strategy, not for a sustainable business. So you've
Right.
got to do the groundwork, in order to create this sustainable business. And
Right.
saying that you don't have enough time or you don't know tech or I don't know how to create a funnel, I don't know how to develop a website, whatever lame excuse that you've been using to hold yourself back, until you bust through those and really get to the root of why it is that you're saying that, what is the belief behind that, saying I don't have enough time, like what does it take? Well, what are you prioritizing right now? What are you doing every day right now that you're making a bigger priority than your business?
Right. And you know, I would go back to kind of the Russell Brunson example and say, you know, if he were to start blogging about like, I don't know, real estate in Turks and Caicos, and then he starts, you know, dog shows and you know just
Yeah,
all over the map. Like, no, I just want to hear about funnels from Russell Brunson. Like, that's it. Like, I don't want to hear about anything else from him about his cat, his dog, his trip,
nope,
you know, whatever. Just tell me
nothing.
about the funnels. And I think that's where a lot of companies make mistakes because they keep going getting broader and broader and broader, and then we kind of forget what their main focus was, and then they're not really known for anything. So
Yep. You can't tell what it is that they do. And not only do the customers or clients not know, can't pinpoint what it is that you do, no one can refer to you because now you become very nebulous. Like, I don't know what to send people for. You used to do this, but now you're starting to do this other thing. And so are you still doing that? I don't know. Like, it just gets really watery and it's hard to tell. So not only are you losing direct clients, you're also losing referrals from your network because they can't really tell what it is that you do anymore.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to, and you give yourself those words too. That's something that wouldn't take much time at all. But, you know, what are you like? You know, Jill in our group, Eric, he's like the psychedelic guy, right? Like anything
Yeah.
psychedelic, I would refer that way, whether he can deal with it or not. But it's like it's a very big category.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, some of them we'll say, you know, wellness, but that's
What does
so
that mean?
broad. Yeah, like.
What does
Uh,
that mean?
I know, but wellness for me, like, I'm not sure, like, you
Well,
know,
I don't know that what she or he, whoever is promoting, they are a wellness coach. What does that mean? Like, what do they say wellness is? And is that the same thing that I say wellness is? And chances are no. And that's again, this problem with the franchising, the non-branding, the no unique mechanism. I don't care if you are a holistic wellness coach in your mind, you need to brand yourself. You need to be specific so that people know what problem you actually solve. Because maybe your idea of wellness is not, they don't know what that is. It's too general. And quite frankly, how many wellness coaches, life coaches do we see out there who are not nurses? They're not nurses. So how are you any different? So now wellness coach, you don't even have to be a nurse, but you're a nurse and maybe you're more expensive or someone like, what is it? So you've got to really get a handle on what is your unique mechanism, what's your differentiating factor, and then you brand the heck out of it and you never stray, like never.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. So Jill, I think, somehow you always take us down this road about talking about messaging, and you do it on purpose because you're so good at it.
I do. I am super passionate about messaging.
Yeah, we were talking about lame excuses.
So the lame excuses, I don't know how to do messaging. Like, why am I'm not connecting? So here's almost like, I love this. I feel like I've done a lot of the groundwork. I'm not getting traction that I want. And yay, I'm happy that you're here in this group too, to keep learning, because chances are you are missing one of these pieces. And so even when, and a lot of us, you just don't know what you don't know, right? That's why we do join groups. That's why we join memberships. That's why we get mentors. That's why we get coaches for our business, because if you're starting out, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so it helps to get that insight and then say, okay, I thought I was doing this, but actually I need to tweak this, or I need to pivot, or I need to repackage, because I'm not really addressing, I'm giving them what I think they need, but not what they actually want. Right. So that's why this is so powerful, because it would be easy to jump into the, I've been pounding the pavement. I've been doing all this stuff for this long and I'm just not getting anything. Maybe I suck. Maybe I'm just not meant for this. Maybe this business isn't meant to be. No. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Like, period. It's the end of story, right? Okay, so write that down on your little thing. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Okay, put it.
Are you keeping track of these?
Put it on your bathroom mirror, on your post-it, on your wall. Like it is up to you. Okay, to differentiate yourself. Nobody else can tell you what it is that's unique about you. You know that. You have to create that differentiating factor. Okay. People can help guide you. They can help pull things out. But if you're like, they're like, yes, so many wellness coaches. They're all, it's a red ocean, friends. It's a red ocean. So if you're doing the things that are putting you in a red ocean to be with everybody else who's doing all the same thing, don't just fall into that, lame excuse of, I don't know. I'm doing everything that I could be doing. No, actually, you're not. There's some things not right. So you need to now take the next step. How do I figure out what's not aligning? What's not connecting? Okay, we've gone over. We've gone over on our lame excuses. We're sucking up people's time, and Catie, they don't have enough time. So we need to wrap this up.
All right. So we are going to be live streaming inside the Nursepreneur Network from now on. And not in the Facebook group or on YouTube. Is that correct, Jill?
That's correct. Not on in the general. We have multiple communities, and so we've tried to serve everywhere we can. And now we've created a new Nursepreneur Network membership, and so we're going to be taking our InnerGame into that group specifically, because these are the nurses who have said, okay, I seriously want this. I'm committed and I am going to see this through. I want the tools. I want the strategies. I want to learn. I want to make sure that I'm doing this right so it's sustainable. So we are bringing InnerGame to the Nursepreneur Network membership.
And we're also going to be bringing some of the nurses into InnerGame so that we can help them through some of because like I said before, we could do this. We could talk theoretically about InnerGame issues or just talk about my issues all day, but I think it would be more interesting for everybody to talk about other nurses and what their InnerGame issues are, so that you can see how it's affecting your business.
Yeah. Basically, we're creating hot seats. So there's an opportunity for hot seats, just like we're doing in several other areas in the Nursepreneur Network membership. I'm doing content strategy hot seats, and you and I are doing kind of the all-inclusive where are you stuck in your business hot seat, so that we can help nurses specifically with their business and where they are. But what it turns out to be is hot seats are so impactful for every viewer, like for every listener, because you see the similarities in your own business, and then you can apply it. Right. So the InnerGame is like a great opportunity when you can't see, why is it that I'm stuck here? Or why do I keep repeating the same habit? Like, something's off, you can't figure it out. A lot of times coming on with us, it helps us be able to say, to kind of uncover what it is that you're struggling with, right? As far as an InnerGame issues. So question about hot seats. Yes, hot seats are basically when we bring another nurse up here with us into the, onto the mic, and we can say, okay, where are you stuck at? Or what are you struggling with in whatever respective area? InnerGame, it's going to be, why do I keep, how do I get past my inner critic? How do I bust past imposter syndrome? Why do I have such a fear of the camera? Like, so whatever your InnerGame issue is that you're really struggling with and you just haven't been able to bust through, like, come on, you can request a hot seat, and you'll be on here with me and Catie, and we'll help you work through. And the goal is just to help you shift the perspective. And that typically, stops the block, and you can move past that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think, we could also do things like sales, right? Like, I just can't get any sales, and that would be an InnerGame issue as well. So I think that's really
so much InnerGame there.
Yeah, there's a lot of InnerGame there. So lots of opportunity, and we can certainly
pricing InnerGame.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Okay. All right, guys, we are excited. Thank you all who have continued to watch us in the main group and on YouTube. And, we're always happy to have your comments. If you have a question related to InnerGame, maybe you're not ready to get on a hot seat yourself, that's okay. Send us your, issue that you want us to tackle, and we're happy to do that. And we will hopefully see you over in the Nursepreneur Network membership.
Thanks, guys.